Hello and welcome to the Habitual podcast. My name is David Granada from Goliath Performance, where we can come out to you for boxing and strength workouts and also helping you with your lifestyle. Today, we are going straight into the 3 common myths that I hear most of the time when it comes to calories, counting calories, when it comes to working around old injuries, and also with cardio versus strength training, the myth around which one is better if you're only just doing cardio. We're going through that myth as well. So let's get started with the very first myth, that is cardio. Basically just going for walks, hitting your 10,000 steps each day is all good and well for everyone, but we're looking at using other ways. As with us, we use strength training to obviously better help yourself with improving overall health and obviously losing your body fat and increasing muscle mass at the same time. Now, most of the time, that's generally everyone's specific type of goal that would make them a lot healthier by working on those 2 things. We get people to go out to do something like a DEXA scan, which not only shows your body fat percentage, lean muscle mass, but also your bone density, which is very important. That can be improved obviously through strength training. So if you're only doing your walks, or if you're only going on the treadmill every day at the gym for 10 minutes, and that's basically the only workout you're doing each and every day, you're not really going to get the best results, or look at the other factors you're going to get without implementing strength training into your workout routine. So that's a difference there, especially if you're looking for losing body fat and increasing muscle mass. Now, when we say increase muscle mass, we're not talking about turning into the Incredible Hulk or bodybuilding or that physique competing. We are talking about just overall general fitness from a starting point to obviously progressive overload in terms of the program that you can follow. And that is all done through a strength training type of workout. And that's the best way to go about that. So let's get into the second one. The second one we're going to be talking about is the working around old injuries. So something we get quite often a lot is not choosing a specific exercise or not working on your deadlifts or your squats because of a previous or old injury. And I'll go as far as also saying like bad experience from a previous personal trainer. That's very common, and when I first hear that with someone that's looking to get started, that's something I like to jump onto and let them know, like, that's your previous experience. But obviously there are many other ways. Like, it's good to reach out, it's good to keep going and starting with your physical health and a fitness routine or workout program without having your old injuries or an old experience as a setback where you're not getting back into working on, let's say, like a deadlift. It's probably the most common one. People avoid deadlifts because they might have had like a previous injury with that. The only thing we don't want to mention or get into is obviously health conditions and other forms of very severe, obviously, injuries that you obviously just can't work around. Myself, like, I do work with a lot of people who have multiple health conditions, so it does get very limited. It's very challenging, but still rewarding in that there are many ways to still have a good strength workout and work on different aspects in that way as well. So the myth of not training because you are holding back from your previous injury, that can all be overcome by a few certain things to look at. The first one is the most common one I would look at is range of motion. There's no such thing as doing a squat. You have to get your hips all the way to the ground. Even myself, I just push myself, knowing my limits, knowing my old injuries, and still doing a squat, still working on the different range of motions, the intensity, the volume, and still be getting stronger and feeling the benefits that come from that. The next one is a deadlift. I think the deadlift, it's sort of like looked at as that's the only hinge pattern. A hinge pattern is with your hips going back and you're looking over, let's say like a cliff, you're looking over a cliff. Generally, people just see that as the only sort of hinge pattern or lift that you can do. And a certain teaching cue that I give is doing a hip thrust off the floor. But using a hip thrust is an example of another form of exercise that you can do without having to lift an object off the ground, which most cases, if you've had a previous injury, change it up. My go-to one is a seated good morning. One of the best ones. As soon as I discovered that, I've been putting it into my program, and it's just improved myself, and I can't lift too heavy if I want to do something like going for a run and jogging, which is a big part of my current route fitness program. So I'm not going to sacrifice my running to be able to lift as heavy as I can. The risk and reward, it just doesn't match up. So I've changed that with hip thrusts. Obviously it's a common one amongst the ladies. They're all doing the hip thrust. You don't see too many fellas getting under the bar doing that. My go-to, like I said, is the seated good morning, holding a weight to your chest, bracing your core, and obviously it puts a lot of load onto the lower back in a very different range of motion, and it's very safe. It's very easy to do. You can even do it with your own body weight without loading it up. I've managed to load myself up. I believe it got up to 60 kilos, a barbell on the back, and I was going all the way down. I couldn't go anywhere near that when I first started, but it's something that I stuck to, and it's really helped me with that, even with my own injuries, which I basically get just from lifting very heavy stuff off the ground like a deadlift. But I still find other ways to do it. The third one, I guess, with the training around injuries is looking at the frequency as well and the rest periods that you do have in between each workout. Very important. And even the sets in between the sets. So, having a timer there in front of you, if you're training on your own or if you've got a trainer there, like knowing the rest period in between is very important to obviously get better and stronger, but also improve with a progressive overload to improve yourself and obviously make that injury something of the past. I think most people attach themselves through their minds onto injuries, and the injury could be 100% fully healed, and they could be cleared by all their physiotherapists and everyone that's helped them out, but still mentally they'll be holding themselves back. So that's a mental mind block that you might have, and getting straight into it is the best way to go about it on a good, easy, safe level though, so not to aggravate or make the injury any worse. Going on to the third one is the juicy one. So we're talking about counting calories. Basically, the myth of having to count calories is not the way to go about it. Definitely not how we do it here at Goliath Performance or myself with my own clients. It's just too confusing. It's too much information, and that's already out there, I should say. But basically the idea is your relationship with food. Let's start with that. So your relationship with food is obviously how you see your food, and then if you've got a certain goal, let's say like a bodybuilder who wants to put on more muscle mass, then he would be needing to count his calories. But to what point is it healthy? To what point is he obviously progressing in his own training to say this is something that's sustainable? I think that's a big one. Is any diet, especially the restrictive diets, intermittent fasting, vegan, carnivore, all the different diets, paleo, they are very restrictive. So they might work for a bit of time, but how sustainable are they over a long time? Or if you reach your goal and you get off your restrictive diet, are you gonna maintain that? Are you gonna be happy with yourself? So a lot of confusion, I think, when it comes to diet and nutrition, especially when it comes to counting calories. You do need to know, well, one thing I enjoy doing is counting the amount of energy that I exert in a day. That to me, it's far more enjoyable, and it's sort of like a goal that I have with myself. And yeah, if I need to get in an extra walk or go for another game of golf or whatever it is, that's more of a social setting as well, then I'll definitely be using that instead of just sitting around and working out how much calories are going in, which is important, but counting calories is just not healthy for most people starting out. Although there are certain goals that you might be training towards, and you might need to know that bit of information. So those are the 3 common ones today. So if you feel like that's something that you struggle with or you need help with, reach out to us. Let us know what it is that you may be struggling with. Obviously, if you're in your 30s or 40s and beyond and you've got old injuries, or if you had a very terrible experience, very common, terrible, bad past experience with a previous personal trainer, gym, class, if you've been into a class, I'm laughing at that because there's certainly classes out there, jumping into a class and then pushing you beyond your limits and not considering of your injuries or anything else where you're starting at. Then reach out to us. We can obviously come out to you at your home. That's what we do, and we'll get you started from there. If you're following this, listening to this on YouTube, please subscribe to us, give us a like, and if you could go even further, give us a comments for other ideas that we can obviously share and communicate with. And that's pretty much it for today. We'll see you in the next one.